Everybody, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Duckman TV. Got a special guest on today, Stephanie Pinto from the world of Archery Tag. Tell me, what is Archery Tag?
Yeah, it's still a bit of an unknown. It's still a bit new for a lot of people.
Yeah,
We've had it for about 10 years or 10 years or so, but archery tag itself is a sport. So it's an outdoor or indoor recreation kind of game or sport. If you think of a mashup between archery, obviously,
yeah,
paintball and dodgeball,
yeah,
then you've kind of got the then you're kind of hitting the mark. So we obviously play with modified bows, proper archery recurve bows, and
yeah,
modified foam tipped arrows so
yeah,
that people don't die.
yeah.
And so it still packs a punch, but there's no, big injury. And it just means people are able to get outdoors, have some fun as a group, and you're obviously shooting each other across the
Yeah.
field, sort of trying to get points and win the game. So, yeah.
That sounds very cool. So I've seen lots of variations of this, and there's a movie, I can't remember what Hollywood movie it was. Pretty sure Matthew McConaughey was doing something like this to different people in a movie. It might have been Jennifer Aniston or something like that. And they run around and they just do all these different things. And I think it looks like the coolest sport to do. So because it looks like it's not too pretty cost prohibitive and it's pretty easy to get involved. You're not going to get seriously injured. You're not
Yeah.
going to take a bow arrow to the chest or anything like that. No one wants crossbow bolts going through them or anything.
No, we have had people ask, can they screw off the foam tip and use the arrows? And we're like,
Yeah.
no, like not unless you want to die then.
Yeah, I wouldn't be recommending doing that in particular.
No, no, they're nice big. I should go get one, but they're big white, like squashy foam tip arrows. So they kind of, if you're shooting them at full force, we
Yeah,
obviously have like a safety kind of range of about 6 meters or so that you don't want to point blank shoot someone, because once you do pull back the bowstring kind of to its capacity, then you've got quite a lot of
a lot of
pressure on there.
velocity. Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of velocity. So if for those kind of people who want to get up in there in the front of the action and shoot their mates, or a buck, the groom kind of thing,
yeah,
and they kind of get right up the front of the bunkers and they'll, snipe someone pretty close. But it's
yeah.
still, they're not going to walk away with like, welts and bruises and stuff, which is good.
That's really good. So, how did you get involved? How did you find out about it? Number one, how did you get involved in
So my husband is someone who he's a big kid himself, right? So,
it? Yeah,
just before we had kids, he was working a couple of different jobs and was just came across archery tag itself, like videos of archery tag being played over in America. And
yeah,
as you're just scrolling on your phone and you find stuff, and I think it was on YouTube probably, and he thought, this looks sick, where can I do it? Let's kind of, he fell down the rabbit hole of trying to find where to play archery tag in Australia. And at
yeah.
that point, I think this was about 2012 or 2013, maybe, I can't remember, because it was before our first son was born. And
Yeah.
there was nowhere in Australia to do it. Like, it was just in America. And we are like, oh man, that would be fun. And he thought, well, why couldn't we bring this stuff out, bring all the gear, start a business and make it a thing? And I was like, are you crazy? We don't know how to run a business. Like, and like the rest is history. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
So what? So have you got the? Are you like the only franchise? Is a
No,
franchise a full
so
business?
it's
How does it work?
yeah, we're a licensee of
Yeah,
Archery Tag, or it's called Global Archery, is the business over in the
yeah,
US. I think it's Indiana where they are. And so it started there by a guy called John Jackson, and who obviously loved archery, wanted to be able to
yeah,
bring it into the combat kind of world, for real. And I
yeah,
think he's got some videos, early videos of John Jackson shooting apples off people's heads, all that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
so yeah, we brought it out just by the time we kind of got the gear out and signed our licensee agreement and everything. We were just shy of being the first licensee in Australia. There's a guy, lovely guy up the coast, around Tumbiumbi and Central Coast,
yeah,
and he also brought it out at the same time. So technically, he's the first. He's an awesome guy. He's Andrew Armstrong, and so
yeah.
we always have some banter. We're like, we're going to smash you guys up there on the Central Coast. So
Yeah.
there's a few of
So
them.
so where is it based in Sydney at the moment? Where are you set up at?
Yeah. So our setup is here. We're in Glenwood, and so
Yeah.
we commonly use a tennis court in Glenwood because it's easy to book. They know us, that we know that the arrows and things don't damage the surface of the court or the net. It's enclosed, so it's easy to collect arrows once you've shot them. So
Yeah.
we tend to use a place here in Glenwood, but we're mobile and we'll travel all around Sydney and beyond, actually, if we can. And we've gone up and down and to the mountains and down south and wherever people want to play, really.
Yeah. So I've seen that you set up and you cater for parties and
Yeah.
bucks parties, hand parties, all this sort of stuff. So
Mhm.
what's your biggest target market really?
Yeah, at the moment, we're doing a lot of team building events. So, people who want
Yeah.
to come along with a group from their team or their work and come and play and kind of let off some steam and build some friendships.
Yeah.
We do a lot of bucks parties and some hens parties and things like that too.
Yeah.
But still some kids parties and scouts and schools and things like that too. So, a bit of a mix.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do prior to doing archery tag that what was it that resonated with your husband the most about
Um,
doing that?
yeah, so before we sort of brought this together, he was doing some work in the army, he was doing some work in sales as well, and some
Yeah.
security work. So when you ask him, he says he always felt like he wanted to do something and create something of his own, something fun.
Yeah.
Because like I said, he's a big kid himself, so who isn't?
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of a very different transition.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like the competition element of it too. So you're competing against other people. How do you compare up against skirmish and that for like numbers? So how many people can participate in, like, let's say put on an event for the day? How does that work? What would that look like and entail?
Yeah, so we figured out that kind of the golden number or the minimum really is 10
Yeah.
because once you have a group of 10, obviously the setup that we have, which is the proper archery tag setup, is you split them into two teams on a
Yeah.
field. We kind of mark it out. It's roughly the size of a tennis court. It's about 24 by 12 meters once we do it on grass, but whatever a tennis court is. And we've got bunkers set up. So
Yeah.
people hide behind the bunkers, kind of move around them to shoot and things like that. So once you break
Yeah.
up 10, that's 5 versus 5. When
Yeah.
we've run it for less than that, like 6 or 8, but then it's 3 versus 3 and it's a really quiet game. And if you've got some people who will just hide behind the bunkers, they don't want to come out, like it's a very boring game.
Yeah. Subdued. Yeah. I
Yeah,
reckon you want it to be like a proper battlefield, loaded up, and
yeah,
you
yeah,
got people getting taken out left, right, and centre. So,
yeah.
what's the idea? You got to try to go for like a flag and try to capture a flag because I've seen things like that. Is that how it works?
So we've actually got a few different game types, and Alex has created some different ones of his own. The main, I guess, there are kind of global rules of archery tag. There's even a almost like a competition level over in the States, and for a period of
Yeah.
time, we actually did a local comp with some, guys and teams around here. But the general rules are like for dodgeball, if you get hit, you're either out or it's a point for that team who's hit you. If you can catch an arrow, which is, it sounds really hard, but once you get the skill of it, you've got to kind of catch the shaft rather than the foam tip. Because if you try to catch the foam tip, 9 times out of 10 it bounces out of your hand because it's a bit
Yeah.
squishy. So if you can catch, that's 2 points. So they're
Yeah.
worth it. And so on a points-based system, it's that kind of thing. And if the arrow, touches a surface or hits the grass or a bunker, it's dead. So it won't count as
Yeah.
a point. So we've got points ones. We don't so much play the, get hit and you're out with the kids because they get hit really quickly. They get out very fast and it's very upsetting.
Yeah.
So we've got other games like, a medic game where you secretly designate one person on your team to be the medic who can revive other people on your team if they get hit. They've got to, if they get hit, they call out for medic. They can't shoot. They've got to take a knee, kneel down and wait to get their medic to high five them and revive them. So and you've got to protect your medic because once your medic's dead, well, you lose again. So,
Yeah. I like that.
there's heaps and heaps of different ones. Sometimes we've got some shooters around the perimeter with a bow,
Yeah.
and everyone else has to stay inside the field run
Yeah.
around, get hit. And if they do get hit, they grab a bow and they become a shooter. So kind of last man standing. There's like endless game types. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, so for people like myself, I'm 46 now, so I was right into the whole Schwarzenegger action movies and all that sort of stuff. That sounds good, running around, shooting at things,
Yeah,
can't
like
destroy anything or anyone. And yeah,
and
you
it's
get the,
good because depending on your age, like in our local comp that we had running sort of just before COVID and everything that happened, we had I think it was about 64 from memory.
yeah,
Lovely guy, loved Archery Tag. Came in with I think his son-in-law and a couple of his mates to make a small team, a team of like four, and it fitness level, age, none of that matters because you can
yeah,
be someone who's right up the front in the action, or you can be someone who's kind of hanging back on the perimeter, taking those long shots.
yeah.
And either way, you're going to have a good time and you're going to, have a lot of fun and shoot some people. So,
Yeah, yeah, I like the whole strategy behind it. It sounds pretty good.
yeah.
I can only imagine. I reckon it'd be something good like to do with some of my mates and it'd take a few people out, probably even gang up on people on my own team because why not? So,
Yeah,
so
sometimes,
what
yeah.
happens if you take out people in your own team?
Well, you shouldn't because you're obviously unless let's say you're behind down the back of the field and you
Yeah,
accidentally clip someone who's up the front, but you've
yeah,
got to have like that'll happen in lots of different games like dodgeball or like other things. You've got to have your eyes
yeah,
peeled and have a good strategy. So yeah.
yeah. So when you had the competition running, how many teams or that were in the competition, and what would it take to get a competition running again?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think from memory we had about six teams, six or seven. It
Yeah,
wasn't like a giant draw. We built it up from nothing, from just some
yeah,
some of the guys and girls who played regularly at events, and they said, "Oh, we'd love to play weekly. Like, can we get a bow? Can we practice? Can we play?" And we thought, well, we had a friend who owned a sort of a couple of indoor courts in Norwest here, like
yeah.
around Glenwood and that area. So they opened it up and said, yeah, I'm on a Friday night. You can come along for a couple of hours. And we created the draw. I was like, how do you create a draw? So we had to create a draw and the points and the semifinals and the finals. And somewhere we have in amongst all our archery gear, we have a plaque that we put these little, like we got it made. It was really cool. They had a lot of fun and just points based system basically. So yeah.
Yeah, it sounds massive. So it's like I compare it to things that have come out of just general ideas like dodgeball and that as well. That's now become effectively they've got World Cups and all that sort of stuff for it. And
Yeah.
Australia are good at it. Like if there international events for this.
There are in the US. I don't like they've got a whole league, and I
Yeah,
don't know whether they're at one point, COVID happened and everything, so everything was kind of stilted for a little bit. But there was talk of I think like a tournament, almost like can we get to the Olympic level? What do we need to do?
yeah.
I don't know, but I'm sure John Jackson, the founder of Archery Tag, would love to get it into the global stage. That would be so awesome.
Yeah, it'd be massive. Yeah, absolutely. So what would it take to for someone to get started? What if they wanted to get involved, want to come and have a game or anything like that? What do you need? How much does it cost?
Basically, they don't need anything at all. We provide all the equipment. They'll
Yeah,
need minimum 9 friends, ideally.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
some mates or some friends. For kids, the minimum age is 10. We just
yeah,
find that kids who are littler and younger than that, which our kids at the moment are, the main thing is the mask. The face mask is the big protector, right? It's like a paintball mask effectively. So it covers the full face. It protects from any of those headshots and things like that. And for
yeah,
the little ones, they slip off. It's unsafe. We don't have anything. There's not something that's smaller and safe enough for them. And also you need a level of like strength and coordination to pull the bowstring back far enough to release the arrow. Because if they pull it a little bit and release the arrow, just ding, it sticks on the string. So, and
yeah,
like we don't mind doing younger kids. We don't want to say no to anyone, but every year we attend the Blacktown City Medieval Fair that's on
yeah,
at Narragingee. And we get lots of little kids saying, I want to go, can we have a go? And so we let them have a bit of a play with the bow and we supervise it, but they just can't go out on the field because, they need to.
yeah.
So yeah,
So So I was at that this year. I wrote a story about that, and Andrew, one of the jousters, so I interviewed him
Yes.
before. So I went and took some photos and did
Oh,
all pictures and all this sort of stuff. I think that's super cool. So I wonder what is we using in combat out on. What are they using? So I was trying to work out when they had the little combat thing happening out on
yeah.
the battleground. So that's what yous were using, was it?
Yeah, so we've got the recurve bows. So they're
Yeah,
ambidextrous, meaning anyone can use them. They're left, right
yeah,
handed. We've got the obviously the foam tip archery tag kind of patented arrows. So they're safe. They've
yeah,
been rigorously tested. They've got the
yeah,
easy little knock on the back that clicks on the string. And we just show people very quickly how to use the bow, how to put the mask on, the rules of the game. Here are the bunkers, go for your life. So,
yeah.
and we just cycle people in and out. So the whole weekend of the medieval fair, our team was just like, it was insane. People loved it, so it was
Oh,
good.
it would have been 100%. So
Yeah,
how? So if someone's real good at it, so obviously your husband coming from the military, did he work in like actual armed services on the ground, or was he
he
like
was in the
more?
reserves. He was in the
Oh,
reserves
yeah,
for a few years straight out of school, and then amongst other.
yeah,
So he was a rifleman in the he was he went to Kapuka. He was at
yeah,
there's a base not a well yeah the base at like Blacktown and
yeah,
went there a lot. So he's a big kid and he just loves it
yeah,
all.
yeah. So has he been able to rope in a lot of military guys and people in the police and that to come and have a crack? Like, surely that's got a better market you're looking at.
Yeah, there have been a few, to be honest, and they all like we kind of approach it going, okay, they already know what they're doing. Like they haven't used the equipment, but they get the strategy and they get that
Yeah.
they're there to have fun and not take it too seriously, which is really good. So
Yeah. So I reckon it could be added extra if you like set it up so similar to like a battlefield, like you're thinking Commando and Predator, and you'll get some full on hardcore people that are out there full camouflaged up and
yeah,
everything falling through the
yeah.
bush. So could only imagine how that would be. So the tactics, so they're all based from this guy in the US that started it up. So obviously, how did he create it and come up with the idea for
Yeah, I think he was just an avid archery lover and wanted to be able to bring it to families to make it
it?
safe and fun and family friendly.
Yeah,
And so he created this. Obviously, the concept and I mean, not the concept generally, because we know there's a LARPing, which is that live action real play, role play. People like at the medieval fair, dressing up, having fun, like recreating some of those scenes from the medieval
yeah,
days. But he wanted to make it more like a sport, recreation, fun activity for people of all ages to, book in for parties and birthdays and schools and stuff. So, yeah.
yeah. So what's the biggest field you've ever had to set up for like people to go
Ooh.
out and have
Yeah,
a crack?
the biggest, this was well before 2020. I remember it because we've done a few open days, like O week at
Yeah,
universities. And so those have huge numbers of people. And depending on our equipment level, I think the biggest we did, I think it must have been two fields of
yeah,
like 15 versus 15. It was nuts. Like we took so many photos, there was heaps of people playing, and we were rotating all the gear and stuff like that. And yeah, two fields going at once, refereeing, and then obviously making a bit of a round robin. It was
yeah,
insane, but they had heaps and heaps of fun. It was so good.
yeah. So to help promote it a little bit more, have you thought about maybe getting some people to get out there with GoPros on and stuff to show what's happening out on the court and what's happening?
We did, yeah. We actually just recently we're kind of doing a bit of a revamp on our website and our video footage and stuff like that because
Yeah,
building the business ourselves like 10 years ago, we just took a lot of photo and video ourselves and edited anyway. So probably about 3 weeks ago, we set up at our home turf, as you call it, at Glenwood, and we set up all the stuff. And we had a friend of a friend who does videographing for his work come along, a guy called Rich from Motion Bound Pictures, and he took some insane video footage, GoPro footage, like all the rest of it, chucked it together, and we actually just got it the other like about 3 days ago, the new
yeah,
footage. So we're going to put more on our website and on social media and stuff like that to get it going again. So yeah.
yeah. That's really good. I really think it's something that could really kick off massively. So what do you reckon your biggest demographic at the moment is that you'd be hitting for it?
It's kind of the 25 to 35, 40. It
Yeah,
depends only because it's kind of a different thing for Bucks groups to do because a lot of people have done
yeah,
paintball and stuff like that. And not everyone just wants to go out drinking now, for a
yeah,
night. So that's something different there. But also the team building activities of, IT groups or builders or tradie, like those kind of
yeah.
demographics. They're like, oh yeah, this looks fun. Like, let's give it a go. So
Yeah, look for something different outside of the footballs and
yeah,
basketballs and all that sort of stuff that normal people would probably have a crack.
yeah.
But yeah, so how often could you run it? Like how often are people coming and trying archery tag out?
As often as they want to come play. Like we have a pretty open calendar with weekdays, weekends. We even do evenings, like I said, for scouts, and for activities like that. So if people want to play and they have enough friends to kind of, like I said, minimum 10 is a good
Yeah,
number. 10 to 20 or 25, then bring them along. All you have to do is go on the website, obviously book in if you know the day you want to play or kind of where you want to play, how many people you've got. If it's for a party or a birthday or something, then put that in. But yeah, we can kind of do it anytime.
yeah. So when you initially set this up, or your husband wanted to do it, what were you thinking straight away?
I was like, that'll never work. This is weird.
Yeah.
But then
So did he get you out there and have a go as well to see so you could
yes.
engage with it?
Yeah, and I did a fair few events pregnant. Like we
Yeah,
did, building up the business. I was
yeah,
pregnant with our first, and I remember going along and thinking, okay, well, I better not get shot. I'll just do the shooting and refereeing. So yeah, we've both fired plenty of arrows in our time, but he's like the pro. I'm not as good as him.
yeah. So I would think that a market because there's like Western Sydney in general, if you know, like is obviously from around the hills in Glenwood and Blacktown area, like it's screaming out for just different events at the moment, so that people can go and do that. It's not hugely structured. That's going to take 10 hours. Like if you go and play cricket, you're doing it for 7 hours a day and stuff like that. And footy's like $500 for Edjo to do it for the year and all that sort of stuff. It's I think this could be a massive hit all around.
Yeah.
And,
We were very busy. We had like a couple of teams going out. We have a van with it's wrapped with all our logo and everything on it. And
yeah,
we had one team going out in the van and another team going out, to somewhere else in Sydney. So we had a
yeah,
really busy weekends most of the time. And then obviously the pandemic happened. And as with, for a lot of people's businesses, it really came to a screeching halt. And so we're building back up and getting back to being getting out there and having people know what we do and stuff like that.
yeah. So when you started off, you didn't start off at Glenwood, did you, in Sydney with it
Yeah, we
all?
did. Yeah, yeah, because we lived here. Like we grew
Yeah,
up, we both of us grew up in the hills, in like Balcombe Hills, Winson Hills,
yeah,
and then moved here. And this was like we used a park, like a field, and then but obviously got the van probably a couple of years in, and then thought,
yeah,
'cause we need space, we can't drive in our little car to people's homes or properties or around Sydney.
yeah,
So, yeah, it's always kind of been here.
yeah. So how many people are you having from different parts of Sydney? Like are they coming from all over Sydney and New South Wales to come and play?
Yeah, yeah, pretty much all of Sydney. If we can go to them and they're happy, they want us to come, maybe it's a kids' party, so they can't transport all the kids, or it's a Bucks in the city and they want to play and then go, out for the night. So it's kind of a bit of a mix. People can come to us, or we can go to them and travel, depending on council restrictions and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a pretty good way to do it. So, how much does it cost for if you wanted to run an event and you just had 10 people? How much would it cost for the group to come in?
Yep. So for kids, it's $49 per player, and for adults,
Yeah,
it's $59 per player.
yeah,
And if you come to us, then there's no like venue hire fee or anything like that. If we're coming to
yeah,
other people and they want us to use an indoor court, like a futsal court or a tennis court or a field, if there's some like higher fee, then we pass that on to the group to cover it. So up to them. But yeah, it's pretty affordable once you've got like 10 or so people or 15 and you split it amongst everyone. And we've found that the best kind of time length for an event, we tried 1 hour, 2 hours, and longer. And by the time everyone has done just a bit of instruction and practice and the safety briefing, doesn't take long. and we get into lots of different like mini rounds of archery tag and the
Yeah.
different game types. 90 minutes is plenty, even for adults, because sometimes adults go a bit harder. Like they run more, they collect the arrows. For kids, also, they get pooped. And so
Yeah.
we tend to do 90-minute events. And so,
Yeah.
yeah, like $50, $60, that's it. We bring all the gear. You just like bring your kids or bring yourselves, rock up, and then have some fun.
Yeah, no, that's good. That sounds really good. So something I definitely am thinking I might engage my rugby union team to go and do that, some team bonding stuff.
It's a good thing. We've had some like soccer groups or yeah, footy groups or netball, coming along to go, hey, at the start of the year or the end of the year, let's bring everyone together and do something fun and have, a barbie or something. And yeah, it's really good. So
Well, it's definitely something to look at because I coach rugby union at Blacktown this year. We're Alwyn Linfield Reserve, so nice and close to come
yeah,
and do
right around
some
the
stuff.
corner. We used to use a grass area at Alwyn Lynn Field, like near the dog
Yeah,
park and the trees and
yeah,
stuff. And then they put, much to my son's delight, a skate park in. And so it's
yeah.
very busy. And so we moved like one block away to Foreman Avenue Reserve where the tennis courts are. And that's awesome. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So, I think it's in a good central location and everything like that as well. Um, so at the moment, so I sort of want to check out your website and that the other day I went, oh, this is really cool. So obviously you're going through the process, building that up a bit more and re-engage everybody. So, what sort of message would you like to get out there for people that are thinking about giving this a crack?
Yeah, you know what? That I think you kind of nailed it. Give it a crack. Like if you've never tried it, or a lot of people say, oh, I did archery in high school or in school at camp. I'm like, yeah, you don't need any experience. You don't have to have fired a bow. You don't need to know which way to hold it up. Like it's very safe and family friendly and fun. And you
Yeah,
can, all energy levels can give it a go. You don't have to be like a fit freak or anything like that. You can just
yeah,
come and have some fun, take some shots, maybe settle some scores. So
yeah, yeah.
give it a crack.
Could come in handy for like family Christmas disputes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
when you get family groups come down, you get dads that come down that think they're the experts at everything. Like I'd probably fall in this category, a bit of an expert at everything, and you're going to wipe the floor, and then they get rashly humiliated by their partners or by their kids and stuff like that.
May have happened once or twice. But yeah, sometimes it's the kids who want to
Yeah,
shoot the parents for making them clean their room and do their homework all the time. We're like, all right,
that's
we'll set it up. Firing line, parents line up.
yeah, that's funny. No, I love that sort of stuff. Um, so if it's out there for an hour and a half, how long will it take to get for a round? It's obviously going to go for a couple of rounds in an hour and a half because
Yeah,
it'll go quicker than what people think, and then they'll obviously settle into a level where, oh yeah, this is about the pace we want to go at.
yeah.
So I imagine everyone starts off like they're in Braveheart, like when they're charging into each other for about the
Yeah.
first 10 minutes, and then they're completely gassed and realize that's not the way to do this.
Yeah, everyone kind of gets the feel for it. And like I said, at the start, we do a bit of instruction and how to
Yeah,
use the equipment, how to get the best out of it, how not to poop yourself after 10 minutes, and pace yourselves and just use some strategy. Like if you're sitting plonking behind a bunker for a little while and then you kind of bend around the bunker and shoot cross field, you'll catch someone on the other corner who has no idea you're even there and
yeah,
you're not using much energy. So it's a lot of strategy. It's doesn't have to be a lot of running around, but yeah, the games that we like, the different game types, they might only last 5 or 8 minutes. So they're very
yeah.
quick. We have a breather. Sometimes we do, all right, best of three with medic, and then the loser, you guys go on a firing squad. So it sucks to be
Yeah.
you. Like, and then we
So,
do so it's
so have you had a lot of people that come down and done like combat sports like archery before and shooting and stuff like actual shooters that like, oh, this is a sweet thing. So
you
then
know,
what do you think of it?
we do, and they're awesome, like because they get it. But sometimes we do find people who they've got lots of archery experience, traditional archery or target archery, and then it's almost like a whole new world opens up to them because now they're not standing, cooling down, focusing, taking that careful, focused shot. They've got to run
Yeah.
around. They've got to dodge being shot. Like you've got to do it really fast, and you've got to watch your back because if you grab an arrow off the grass to shoot it, you're probably going to get shot in the butt or something. You've got it. It's
Yeah,
actually much more. Yeah, it's definitely combat. It's not just okay. Let's shoot at a target, and I have all the time in the world.
yeah. So I think this would be really mad at something like a Comic Con or something. Have you ever engaged with Comic Con to like be involved and do some
Um,
sort of event with them?
we haven't been there, but I do remember. I don't know if it was Comic Con or maybe a different medieval.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember we've had inquiries and stuff, and sometimes like when we can get off the ground, that yeah we do, and we have the team and stuff, but we haven't actually been to Comic Con. That
yeah,
was pretty awesome.
yeah. So the Blacktown Medieval Fair that was on this year, because I was there on the Sunday at
Yeah,
Narragansett and
yep,
doing spree.
yeah.
Um, how did the people get involved that were in that did that? So they were already involved, I imagine, in the whole medieval fair setup as
Yeah,
well. Like
yeah.
just run them through how to use all the equipment.
Yeah, so we were up on usually like the first few years that we went. I think we've been 5 or 6 years, maybe. There was obviously the gap over COVID, and one year, was it last year? It was
Yeah,
rained off twice. Like they rescheduled it, it got rained off,
yeah,
and yeah, we were up in kind of this corner of the field, almost where like the camels and the kids' jumping castles are. So we have a
yeah,
beautiful grass area. And
yeah,
like after the first couple of years, they realized they had to create like lines, lined markings and like flags because there was just so many people would line up and wait for a long time. I'm like, guys, come back, like don't wait in the sun. But they were like, no, our kids want to play. So
yeah.
yeah,
Ah, that's good. So yeah, I saw all the people. So I imagine you were set up somewhere near where all the people were doing the like the sword combat with the wooden swords and stuff like that. Somewhere around
yeah,
that
it
area,
was
was it?
yeah near the road, like the
Yeah,
near the road as you come in off
yeah.
Knox Road. We are kind of behind that roundabout where
Oh
yeah
yeah,
the camels and the smelly camels.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's interesting. So how did you get into that? How did you manage to tie in with that?
I don't know whether we might have we've done some events for like PCYCs and some council events
Yeah,
and stuff. I wonder if it's been so long ago. I actually can't remember how we got in touch with, or Kevin at the time got in touch with us, who I guess organized all the stalls, and yeah, every year they just it's gotten bigger and bigger every year, as we
yeah.
know, and so they always reach out to us and say, hey, it's coming up again in May, can you guys come along, can we book you? And we're like, yeah.
Yeah. So now Andrew Beattie, so I know him. So I did an interview with him on my radio show on Pulse FM last year, and he told me he started off because he was in jousting and everything like that. I said, "How did you get into that?" And he got into some sort of Japanese. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Japanese martial arts combat with weapons, and he was learning how to do archery on horseback. I was thinking, how mad would it be to do that on horseback?
Wow, that's like next level.
Yeah. So have you thought about trying to maybe engage with that and see if the any of the jousters maybe would want to try to do that?
Yeah, my mind goes straight to the horses, which already, like, you just don't want to poke a horse with the stick, and I'm sure they don't. But like, I think, oh my
Yeah.
god, what if we shot a horse in the chest or the? You'd have to be a
Yeah.
good shot. But yeah,
Yeah. So I asked him, I said, how do the horses
yeah,
engage when they do the joust? How do they know to ride at another horse? Because that would be, it's not usual for a horse to ride at each other like that,
I
let
know.
alone with people with weapons. He goes, oh, it takes years of practice with a horse to get them used to that. So I wonder how that would go. Because you see all the Western movies of people riding around flicking bows and arrows and stuff.
Yeah,
I
they
could
like
just,
pull
I
one
could already
out.
just imagine it. Yeah, like the Robin Hood days, like, yeah, right, yeah, I bet it didn't
Yeah,
happen like that. So
yeah.
that,
Yeah, I don't think. Well,
that could be a different element.
you wouldn't have to get too close to. I know with the jousting, they obviously cross right near each other, but
Yeah,
for the archery, like we wouldn't want our kind of safety range is like 6-ish meters, 5-6 meters.
yeah,
So we don't really encourage people to go like right up and point blank shoot, even though it's a phone tip.
yeah,
You don't want to have that punch kind of thing in your face. So you could like stay on your sides of the horse and go
yeah.
back and forth.
Could even do like push bike combat, like because I'm into weird stuff like push bike jousting and that as well. So this could be something cool you do on push bikes and pull it out and rack it
Oh,
up and have a shot at people. So
that's awesome. Yeah, we'll give it a crack.
so have you like what's your availability look like in your calendar over the next month for people thinking, oh, this is something I need to try and
Yeah.
I need to try it before Christmas. So
Yes.
because
Oh,
there's Christmas parties and all this stuff coming up all over the place, so you
yeah.
get big engagement with that.
Yeah, Christmas party season is upon us already. Like it's September and people are ready. They're already on the downhill to November,
Yeah,
December. So the thing is, like I said, it's a 90-minute event and we do a little
yeah.
bit of pack up and set up kind of before and after. So it allows us to do maybe two, three, even maybe four events a day if we're there at the same place because of daylight
Wow.
saving stuff too. So there'll be plenty of availability. If people just go on the website and book in and ask, then we can probably fit them in.
Yeah. So how can they find you on the website and Facebook? Like what's the actual website?
Yeah, so easiest way, well, there's a couple of easy ways. The website's really easy. It's just archerygames.com.au. So you can go on there and see there's photos, videos, and booking forms and stuff. And on Facebook, we're just under Archery Games. And you'll see a little
Yeah.
blue and yellow, like ninja guy with a bow and arrow, and that's our logo. And on Instagram, I think we're at archery_games. So you can go on there as well.
Yeah, there you go. So how did you come up with the logo? Is that the international logo for it, or you just come up
No,
with that yourself?
no. So you'll know this then probably. A lot of people don't, but I feel like the logo has changed. But in the NRL,
Yeah.
there is a team. Oh my gosh, is it the Titans?
Titans.
The Titans,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it still is, but it used to be 10 years ago. A little like knight. No, not a knight.
Yeah.
What's it? What's his little face?
Yeah.
It
If
almost looks a bit cartoony.
Yeah, it was like a warrior or something like that.
Like a
So like,
warrior. Yeah.
yeah,
And so we were just looking at logos and obviously NRL teams and like how they were structured and the colors and the vibe and the energy. And we came across
yeah,
that one. And I know the colors are different and everything, but it was this cute little, I think he had swords. Does he have swords or something like holding them like
yeah,
this? And
yeah,
like this. And I was like, wow, what if we made a little ninja guy with a hoodie and then a bow and arrow? Anyway, so you'll see kind of a bit of a likeness if you look at the Titans
yeah.
NRL logo
Oh,
and ours, but don't tell
yeah.
anyone.
So I was looking at it, I've gone, oh, I like the cut. Like, see, the good thing is using bright colors that are engaging as
Yeah.
well and all this sort of stuff. That's what you
Yeah.
want to get it. But it looks very exciting. It looks like something I definitely want to do. So I want to
Yeah.
take my wife. Not sure she'd like what I do getting shot a few times by
Yeah,
me, but
there you go. I found on my, hopefully you can see that. That's our little
yeah,
guy.
I can say that. That's so good. So there you go. You can catch
Yeah.
that logo there for everyone that's thinking of giving it a crack. So
Yeah.
wow.
Oh,
So
there we go. Okay, this is the guy. This is the little Titans image. Oh my gosh, don't tell. It's
yeah,
the same colors.
yeah,
That
very
one.
similar. Yeah,
So yeah, he
yeah,
looks like a bit of a warrior or a knight or something, or maybe
yeah,
samurai. And I was like, oh, I like those.
yeah. Oh yeah, it's 100%. Well, it's distinctive and sticks out. So
Yeah.
so what? So you've been doing this now for what, 10 years now, 11 years now?
I would say maybe 11. Yeah, because our oldest is 9 and a bit, and we brought out
Yeah,
just before we had him. So probably, yeah, 11,
yeah.
10, 11 years.
So so what's your plan now going forward? So what do you aim to do with this in the future? And how much do you engage with the guy that's up at Umby as well?
Yeah, he commented on one of our social media posts the other day and he was like, guys, we've got to do like a combat, like a big shootout, he'll bring
Yeah,
his people, we'll bring ours. I was like, yeah, yeah. So he's awesome. He's such a great guy.
yeah,
Andrew Armstrong. And yeah, I think we just want to build back up to, servicing all the families and all the businesses that want to get out and do something and have fun. We're ready. Like we just want to be able to bring a bit of fun, get busy again and kind of, yeah, give people something a bit different to do.
yeah. So what does the safety equipment look like that people would use or put on when they're going out there to have a go at this?
Mm-hmm. The biggest thing is that full face mask.
Yeah,
So I know there are other combat archery businesses, not Archery Tag branded ones, but combat ones they've got Chinese equipment basically from overseas. It's not the proper patent and stuff from America, but they've got different colored sort of equipment and they use these small little goggles that obviously
yeah,
protect the eyes, but not the nose or the ears and things like that. So we use the proper full face ones
yeah,
that's obviously really protective for your face and it kind of comes down a bit so it protects the neck too.
yeah,
The only other thing that is sometimes people have an arm guard that
yeah,
we've got, but the way that we sort of teach people to use the bows and arrows, a lot of the time they don't even need an arm guard because it's a lot about the way their wrist is twisting. Like if you twist your wrist, this part of your arm, your forearm, sticks out and it gets caught by the bowstring. When you pull it back and release it, it catches it. But if you're holding it straight, with a straight, solid, sort of wrist, then the bowstring never catches it. It just flings into the air. So you actually don't need a lot of safety equipment, apart from the mask, really.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Stephanie, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it. I get a lot out of this. So
Yeah.
for anybody that's watching now, they're going to be able to catch us on Duckman TV later on as well. We'll go on my Weekend Warriors podcast, and it's going to be in one of the upcoming episodes, probably next month in October, for the Blacktown Independent magazine. So thanks for your time today. Absolutely loved it. It sounds like the best fun, and I'll be getting in touch with you as well because so a few footy guys I'm quite sure to probably want to square up with me, not picking them enough through the year and all this sort of stuff. So could be a lot of fun for a lot
Yeah.
of people there.
Yeah. Start taking some names, start
Yeah,
making your list, and then we'll hook you up. Yes. It's been a
yeah,
pleasure. Thank you.
absolutely. No worries. Thanks for your time, and I look forward to chatting to you again. Keep on ducking, everyone. Keep on sticking around. There'll be plenty more content like this coming up over the next little while.